Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being up until that late here in China. First, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Heider Ortiz, and I'm representing Summit Education and one of our flagship schools in Switzerland called Glion Institute of Higher Education. So, just to put you in context, Glion is a legendary school in hospitality business and experience management, and our let's say most prominent programs are BBAs in the hospitality business management and specializations related to hospitality business and luxury management. So, if you may please go to the next slide. So I just wanted to bring some context about hospitality. So those are some interesting figures that you can relate to. Those are coming from reports on the development of the hospitality industry in China. So I wanted to start with this because it brings into context how important is China for this industry, for the mainstream of hospitality. And later on this presentation, you will discover some other areas that are not necessarily related to hotels or restaurants, right? So please, next slide. I wanted to further allude to that by showing some examples of some of the properties that have been released and are in plans now in China. So this is one that was released even during COVID in Danjin. The Ritz-Carlton is a very prominent and very beautiful property, and is one of the major investments of a group in the world. If you mind, next slide. This one is a mock-up of the upcoming property from the Rosewood Group in Shanghai. It's going to be ready in 2022, and it's going to be the largest investment of the group in the Asia region in history. So it's also a super big, attractive project that is going to generate a lot of employment. Next one. And this is a picture of what Kempinski Group is building for one of its brand called Nuo in the Universal Beijing Resort coming up in 2023 and 24. Next. So now that I brought a little bit of context, I also wanted to expand into what are the areas that you, if you choose hospitality or experience management, as we call it now, it could work. So next slide, please. So as you can see from the previous slide and now with the subtitles, those are all the industries that you could expand your career on after you graduate from our schools. So we are not only preparing the students or graduates to work on hotels, large hotel groups and restaurants or business related to what we understand as hospitality, but it expands, further on like areas like event management, luxury management, sports management, airlines, and now even more inclined towards technology with places like Airbnb, Booking.com, right? So a lot of these places, they employ students from our school because our students are able to build experiences and journeys for those customers. So experience, whatever business that has experience at the core or at the heart of the activity or the main business activity is a good target. It is a good place for our students to develop their careers. Next slide, please. So before I get into the description of the course, I want to highlight very important points about why studying hospitality is important and is an advantage for you. The first one, as I was mentioning before, is the employment opportunities. There's a statistic by the World Bank saying that by 2025, 1 out of 9 jobs in the world is going to revolve around hospitality or experience management. So it's going to generate a lot of employment and opportunities in new exciting areas of the economy. The second one is that it's a stepping stone to the rest of the world, which means that within hotel groups and F&B groups and luxury groups, it's very common that you move from one country to the other as part of your training management program or as part of your tenure in the organization. So this is feasible and it happens regularly. The third one is that is interaction with people, right? So one important thing about hospitality and experience management is that you have to feel happy about making other people happy through service and experience delivery. So that creates a lot of opportunities for innovation and for you to build meaningful and long-lasting relationships. Fourth that in hospitality, unlike other fields like engineering or traditional career paths, you can move laterally. For example, you can start with a client facing role, and then you can move into a revenue management role or a marketing role within the same group, and this is very common. And the fifth one, which I think is very relevant, is that it makes a better version of yourself, because you're going to learn a lot of skills like grooming, like a lot of refinement, that it builds a better version of what you do. Next slide, please. So this is a profile of the student at Glion. So you can see the characteristics there. Next slide. We're running a little bit short of time, so I'm going to rattle through this. Let me go to the slide where we have the program outline, so I can walk you through it. So yeah, next one. So this is the program. Glion has 3 campuses. It has 2 campuses in Switzerland, in Bull and Glion, and has 1 campus in the UK. And you see below the options that you have to transfer from campus to campus, because we also have some other sister universities that allow you to take terms in different countries. So the program is very straightforward. It's very linear. You have 2 internships overseas. We arrange this internship for you. We match you up with companies and groups for you to take these internships. The first one is a practical internship, and the second one is a managerial internship. So you will be working with a marketing, sales, or management department of one of our employers, one of our partner brands. And let's go to the next slide, please. Let me show you. Those are the specializations that you can choose in semester 7. So you graduate with a specialization on either of these areas. It's either investment, it's either event management, or luxury management. Next, please. These are the options that you have to go from country to country. So next slide, please. From campus to campus and country to country. So you would see here in the next slide, more clear. So we have all these campuses across our group of schools, and you can actually go from one to the other depending on how you configure your program. Next slide, please. These are the master programs. We probably don't need to touch on that. Let's go to the second last slide, please. One with the brands. Okay, here is I just want you to have an outline of what is the application process. The requirements are very straightforward, and LTLs from 5.5 onwards, and your transcripts. We have to look into what kind of track are you pursuing, and then depending on that, we can give you an interview for you to clear the process, or you can pass it directly. And then it's a 6-step process, very, very clear. Let's go to the next slide, please. Those are the requirements. So as you can see there, I'm not going to deal on that because we're running out of short of time. Next slide, please. And these are the contact details. You can actually scan these if you want to learn more about enrollment program. And those are the social media accounts for the Chinese market, so you can subscribe and receive any news about our school. So I think that we're gonna wrap it up here. Should there be any questions, please feel free to ask.
Right. So thank you for the sharing, Harold. So we got 2 questions in our columns. The first one is from Huang Ziren. She's asking, like, what's the best time to start preparing?
Well, we have 2 intakes. We have one intake in March this next year, and in September, October. So we have rolling admissions, and if you're ready, you can apply now. If you graduate in next year, then you can apply for full next year. But the admissions are rolling, so we're receiving admissions now.
好的，那么这个我们格里昂学院酒店管理学院呢，就是说我们实际上我们的开学时间也是不固定的，就是说如果说是你决定好你要开始的话，你随时都可以申请，这方面是没有问题的。Okay, the next question is, so basically we are under like a global pandemic at the moment. So like people are really like curious about the safeties over the place. So like is EU safe at the moment?
Yeah, EU is kind of like going through the steep part of the pandemic, and now what we're seeing in our campuses is that we're seeing less and less cases reported, and also our protocols are very strong, right? The advantage of our school is that it's very isolated. It's in a small town, as you can see in the picture. It's very isolated from the big cities, and we can have very strict protocols to protect the students. So also, there's still a lot of in and out traffic in Switzerland because it's at the heart of Europe. Our school, it's in a very protected area.
好的，那么就是说，因为我们的这个格里昂酒店管理学院呢，实际上它是位于瑞士的一个小城市，然后这一块的话，学校也是在安全以及防疫方面做出很大的一个努力，然后来确保我们在那儿学习的这种学生的话，能受到就是说双重的这个保障。Okay, the last question we have from UP, and she's asking like whether like is Glion Institute what's the nearest like big cities around this place? How about the traffic stuff?
Okay, so the nearest city is Geneva, which is an hour drive, and then you're pretty much in the center of Europe. So you can take a train to Paris. Milan is 2-3 hours. All the major cities are within 2 hours reach by train from Geneva, right? So it's probably the most central point in Europe you can find for studies, and if you want to experience Europe, right? So that's what our students normally do. They arrange trips during the weekend, and they go and travel throughout Europe.
OK，那么还有说呢，就是说，因为我们的这个管理学院呢，实际上是在当地的一个小镇上，然后当地的距离这个瑞士的日内瓦的车程呢只有1个小时，然后因为瑞士也是在欧洲的中心，然后所以说从欧洲中心的话开去周边其他的国家的话，实际上也都很快，然后也都不需要就是说有任何的一个就是说对于路程的驾驶客人的一个担忧。Okay, I think that's all the time for it, and thank you very much for the sharing today. I think like we're pretty good to go now. All right. So
all right, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Right, if you guys got any related inquiries about the Glion Institute of Higher Education, feel free to scan the WeChat, whatever, or like add Hyros through this QR code. Feel free to do it. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, guys. So that's probably just call it either today, right?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.